What's up, people? I'm Shaggy the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 3 of my reviewing and ranking the Grateful Dead's archival concert release series, The View from the Vault. This is volume 3, hence part 3, or vice versa. This was a DVD release series in which they took like the footage that they did or the amphitheater did during 90 and 91 tours, and then the fourth one's going to be an 80s show, 280 shows. And then they had a soundtrack release. I'm not reviewing the DVDs. I'm reviewing the soundtrack. Though I did watch the DVD to see if I saw myself. I was at this show. Did not catch myself in the audience, though there were panning shots. I'm like, I know I'm somewhere in there. We had really good seats in the upper 100s for this. Which is, we did, back then you would decorate your envelopes. And then I'll put up a couple pictures on my decorated envelopes. The Dead still host them online, which is fantastic. But those were envelopes I sent in for some of the shows. The Dead archived and saved. And then you would just get tickets in the mail. It was pretty cool. Mail order was fantastic back then. But this is a strange show. First set just kind of doesn't work despite every attempt by the band to make it work. And the second set has some fantastic moments, but kind of never just gets enough momentum to last throughout the entire set. It is a really, really strange second set. First set, all on disc 1, this is a 3-disc set, opens up with a Let the Good Times Roll that kind of just feels like it's lacking energy. A lot of these like summer Shoreline shows, they generally did like a run in June and a run in August, it seems. 3 shows, and the first sets could sometimes be pretty brutal because the sun's kind of just coming right down in on the entire amphitheater, and it's just kind of hot, and you can almost feel the heat, like the it's like a lethargic Let the Good Times Roll. It just, I don't know, it never seems to really engage the way other Let the Good Times Rolls engage. And then the band jumps straight into trucking. We get a trucking, a first set trucking, a second song trucking. Nice jam at the end, but the jam just seems just there. Like, we have to jam, so we jam. They go on pretty long. It's a nice and healthy trucking. It's some good energy. But once the trucking is gone, they go right into Touch of Grey. Interesting choice, third song. Usually Touch of Grey is an opener, sometimes a closer, most often an opener of a set. And it feels like once we go into Touch of Grey, almost immediately, all the energy from trucking, that jammy pedal to the metal, like just end of the song, just go at it energy, just kind of disappears. And when we actually get to the solo of Touch of Grey, it almost seems like we're not missing any music, but it seems like Jerry comes in like 4 bars late, and just like, not that he's late, like we don't hear him solo, but it's just like he's already soloing with like ideas that he usually wouldn't drop immediately. It's just it feels weird. The solo feels weird. It just kind of feels disjointed. And like on paper, you got a 22, 23 minutes segment of Let the Good Times Roll, trucking Touch of Grey, but it just, I don't know, it kind of doesn't work. It just feels weird. It feels forced, and it just doesn't feel like the right 3 songs to put together. Then we get a Mama Tried into Big River, which is okay. We get a Friend of the Devil, which I think at this point, we get a Friend of the Devil, and then after that we get a Cassidy. Nice, well jammed out Cassidy. I think these are like the highlights of the set. I think there's like, okay, normal stuff, a Friend of the Devil, a Cassidy, we can do these well. The Cassidy is really well explored. I think the Cassidy sort of like predicts what's going to happen in the second set when the music game gets upped quite a bit. But I really think that's like the 15 minutes of Friend of the Devil and Cassidy are, I think, the highlight of the first set, despite what's happening around it. Because after that, we get a Big Boss Man. Jerry drops a Big Boss Man, which is kind of cool to hear. I don't know. I think it would have worked better in a second set. And there's a place in this second set where I think a Big Boss Man would have worked, like a post drum space bluesy jam, like let it jam out of something and then into something else. I think that would have been a little more interesting. It's neat to hear the Big Boss Man, but I just don't think, I think the energy from the show is just not able to like elevate the song higher than the fact that, oh, cool, it's Big Boss Man. After Big Boss Man, Bob's playing what sounds like Let It Grow chords in the beginning, like he's about to drop it in the that opening thing. Instead, we get a we get a One More Saturday Night. Cool. It's a Saturday show. You know they're going to play it at some point. At least they got it out of the way now. Doesn't necessarily mean something great's going to come later. We get a Sugar Magna close. But yeah, interesting. I don't know. It's a weird first set. I don't think it flows. I think it's sort of lacking sort of some sort of cohesive quality. They're trucking. We don't get that in the first set. Touch of Grey. That's usually an opener. Big Boss Man. They don't ever play that. It's like, I know it's pretty much the only one of 90. One More Saturday Night. That's usually a second set closer. Interesting choices. I don't think it saves the set. Disc 2 starts off set 2 all the way through Space, which means no drums, because here Space comes first, followed by drums, which is essentially just Mickey on the beam. But we open up with a monstrous China Cat Sunflower. Just fantastic. Like, they get lost in the psych deep spaceness. Not like they go space, dark star, no percussion there, just crazy noise. But like that sort of not tethered to anything exploratory jam that China Cat has. It's almost like, I've heard rumors that when people take, like psychedelic mushrooms or something, then maybe they'll like focus on something and it like moves and the colors are cool. And then they're like, oh, that's really cool. I'm looking at that. It's neat. And then someone's like, hey man, you've been looking at that for 10 minutes. What are you doing? You're like, whoa, that felt like one. That is what this China Cat Sunflower feels like. Like, Jerry just keeps going further and further and further and further deep into like the psychness of it. Like, he's like, I'm not done. There's an I Know You writer somewhere around here, but I'm just going to follow whatever this train of thought is. Oh, and there were moments throughout where it feels like they're coming back to that part to go into writer. That they don't. They just kind of tease it a little bit, and then Jerry's off on something else, and the rest of the band just follows with their tendrils all over the place. Absolutely. Where this China Cat Sunflower came from, I don't know. It wasn't hinted at. It was hinted at a little bit in the Cassidy of the first set, but I think the sun must have gone down by now. The temperature's cooler. Everybody's a little more refreshed. Maybe they had some iced tea in backstage in the set break. This China's great. Goes into a good rider. But then, I hate to like pick on somebody, but Midland drops a We Can Run. We Can Run's not a second set song. Like, the momentum's gone. The energy's gone. We got 5-6 minutes of just, oh, We Can Run, really? Could you have not dropped that in that already weird first set and just made that first set even more disjointed? But no, we get a We Can Run. I mean, I think if Midland had to drop something here, like a Dear Mr. Fantasy would have blown our minds, a pre-drums Mr. Fantasy, or, I don't know, maybe a Blow Away, but I don't know, We Can Run just doesn't do it. But then we get an Estimated Prophet, and the jam on this Estimated Prophet is, it's like I've always thought of Estimated Prophet as just this really almost like rather blank, flat sort of rhythmic surface on which they kind of explore on, and it's like a tundra jam. There's a lot of empty spaces and a lot of places to go. But for this Estimated Prophet, we're exploring the tundra, but then like the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis comes out and things get weird and psyche, and Jerry's making cool, odd runs, and it gets a little more intense, like a mix between like a playing in the band jam and like space, like the energy that Jerry's bringing to it. Like, and this is a healthy, good, near 15-minute Estimated Prophet. Like, get rid of that We Can Run, man. Let's go from rider right into Estimated. Let that energy continue, and maybe take that 6 minutes of We Can Run and let's drop it in this jam right here. This is a really good Estimated Prophet. After that, we get a Terrapin Station. Fantastic Terrapin Station. After Terrapin Station, we run through that awesome closing jam, and then they just keep playing. They're not really exploring that Terrapin energy, but they're just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere, not really quoting any songs. Don't really think we get like Other One energy or anything like that. The band's just playing. And the drummers are hardcore, like full on attack. Like, we're ready. When you guys are done, we're ready, man. Just like rolling. We got this. You guys just fade away. And they don't. they just all keep playing. Jerry keeps playing, and Bob's making noises, and Phil's doing stuff, and we get a little quieter at times, and we get a little more intense. Doesn't ever really get crazy intense out there, but we just get like 15 minutes of this post-Terrapin. It definitely doesn't even sound like Terrapin. It at times almost sounds a little spacey, but the drummers are always there. Doesn't maybe is has some estimated prophet energy in the calmness. Maybe a little doesn't really have a he's gone bluesy energy. It's just this really awesome, neat, maybe slightly jazzy, but with some psychness. Not too like dynamic, but at the same time, not ever really letting off the pedal, but like not going at 100 miles per hour, or maybe just steadily driving the speed limit for like 15 minutes. And it's absolutely fantastic. And then after like 15 minutes, Billy and Mickey just give up and leave. Like they just walk off the stage, and we get space. We get one of the best spaces ever. It's a psych space. It's a fun space. There's lots of flavors. Jerry is very active. And it's just, I don't know. It's like after Terrapin Station, we get almost 30 minutes. Well, not 30 minutes, about 27 minutes. It's close to 30 of just improv. Some with drummers, some without. Jerry's exploring, the band's exploring. We finally get some space stuff. It isn't the best sort of out there, most like you have to hear this type improv, but it is so different for this era. They weren't doing this in 90. I mean, I remember at the time, a good friend of mine brought his mom to this show. That was her first show. I went to college with him. They lived in Mountain View, or in Menlo Park, which wasn't too far from here. And so this was her first show. And it was just like, yeah, you took her to a weird show. But yeah, it's just an absolutely interesting, absolutely compelling, like 27 minutes of music. After Space just kind of dies, and then Mickey comes out and starts hitting the beam. I think it's just Mickey for about 4 minutes of just making noises. I think we get maybe Bill with some randomness, but it's pretty much just Mickey. Then that goes into a China Doll. China Doll is always nice to hear. I feel like this one is just, again, lacking some energy. Like, they're not really delivering on the songs. They're delivering on the jams. And this China Doll just, I don't know. Something more. I don't know. I feel like China Doll could have delivered more. It's a really nice song to hear after this. But I think maybe part of the disappointment is when the China Doll's done, we go right into Sugar Mag to end the set. So 2 songs after Space Drums. But then we get 27 minutes of random jam before drums. So, yeah. Just a weird second set. I think it's worth a listen. If We Can Run wasn't in there, it would be almost perfect. Maybe a little too short after drums. For the encore, we get It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, which is kind of there. Great song, but I'm not sure this performance is bringing anything. And then we get 6 bonus tracks, which are all first set songs from October 3rd, 1987. Not really sure where that venue is. Not really sure. Is October 3rd, 87, was that a Shoreline run? It might have been another Shoreline run, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. Doesn't say on here. I'm assuming it's a Shoreline run since this is from Shoreline. I'm not going to check, though. We get a Hey Pocky Way, a New Minglewood Blues, a Candyman, which is nice to hear, a When I Paint My Masterpiece, West LA Fadeaway. I love that song. And then we get another My Brother Esau, which is one of the songs that I figure like they just never actually figured that song out, I feel like. Like, it's one of those songs, like, Bob just wrote too many weird changes into it. He made too much stuff happen. And I'm trying to figure out when was the last My Brother Esau played. It is a Shoreline show. I just looked it up. Yeah, it's a Shoreline show from 87. And I got some itchy throats. But yeah, it's a good My Brother Esau, but it's one of those songs that I don't think they ever quite figured out, and eventually they just kind of stopped playing it all together. And This might have been the last. Yeah, this is the last My Brother Esau. That's what I thought. This is the last one they ever played. And so we get that, which is kind of neat. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, but that's this very strange Shoreline Vault 3 release. The second set is pretty fantastic. The other stuff maybe just depends on how much you like those songs. Where would I rank this among the other ones? I have it as third right now. It just the second set is pretty fantastic, but overall, I think the entire thing, the first disc is almost negligible. The bonus tracks are almost negligible. It really is just that second set. In what has been a really odd release series, if you ask me. Not the most mind-blowing shows, though there are mind-blowing performances in each of the shows. But yeah, that's where I would put it, number 3. All right, that's all I got. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those things. Let me know if you watch this, if you listen to it, all that kind of stuff. Let me know if you see me in the audience, if you watch this. I'm in the 5th to last row in the 100 sections off on Phil's side. Right there. I know by the end of the middle of the second set, we had an entire row to ourselves, so we had a lot of freedom to move, which is cool. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Yeah, peace. Talk to you later.